The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. A gentle breeze rustled through the towering pines of the great North Woods, carrying with it the scent of pine needles and damp earth. A dusty pickup truck rumbled down a narrow dirt road, its headlights cutting through the gathering darkness. Inside the truck, four friends shared stories and laughter, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the dashboard lights. They had been making this annual pilgrimage to the Great North Woods for over 4 decades, drawn back year after year by the allure of nature and the unbreakable bonds of friendship. The road was familiar, every twist and turn etched into their memories. They had shared countless adventures on this very path, fishing trips, camping expeditions, and simply quiet moments of reflection amidst the beauty of the wilderness.
Frank, the oldest of the group, gripped the steering wheel with his calloused hands. His weathered face and twinkling blue eyes held a lifetime of stories, each wrinkle a testament to years spent exploring the great outdoors. Frank was the de facto leader of the group, his quiet confidence and unwavering optimism inspiring those around him. Beside him sat Dan, his gaze lost in the passing scenery. Dan was the quiet one of the group, a man of few words but deep thoughts. In the back seat, Mike and Tom, the resident jokesters, traded barbs and witty banter. Their laughter filled the cabin, a testament to the easy camaraderie they shared. Tom, the storyteller of the group, had a knack for spinning yarns that left his friends both entertained and amazed. "Can you believe it's been 42 years since our first trip up here?" Mike asked, shaking his head in disbelief. It seemed like just yesterday they were young men, fresh out of high school, eager to conquer the world. Now, decades later, they were back where it all began, their hair a little grayer, their joints a little stiffer, but their spirits as high as ever. It all started with a beat-up tent, a couple of fishing rods, and a shared dream of catching the big one, Tom reminisced with a chuckle. Back then, their ambitions were simple: catch the biggest fish, tell the tallest tales, and create memories that would last a lifetime. Little did they know that their annual fishing trip would evolve into a cherished tradition, a touchstone in their lives. As the truck rumbled closer to their destination, a sense of anticipation filled the air.
The truck bumped down a barely there track, pine boughs brushing the sides like welcoming arms. As they pulled into the clearing, the familiar silhouette of the cabin emerged, nestled amongst the trees like it had always been there, patiently waiting. The same weathered logs, the same crooked porch swing, even the same dented metal sign proclaiming Camp Tranquility, a testament to their enduring humor. A chorus of "We're home!" echoed as they piled out of the truck, stretching stiff muscles and breathing deep the crisp pine-scented air. The cabin, though modest, held a lifetime of memories. Every creaking floorboard, every faded photograph tacked to the wall, whispered tales of laughter and camaraderie, of fish tales exaggerated and friendships solidified. Routine took over, ingrained after years of shared experience.
Casting off into the heart of tranquility,
The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the clearing as they prepped their gear by the lake's edge. The air hummed with anticipation, a familiar mix of excitement and contentment. Lines were checked, lures debated, each man falling into his accustomed role with practiced ease. Frank, ever the capable leader, took charge of the old aluminum boat, its hull scratched and dented, a testament to countless fishing expeditions. With a practiced hand, he guided it through the glassy water, the only sound the gentle whir of the motor and the soft lapping of waves against the bow. They settled into a comfortable silence as the boat cut through the water, each man lost in his own thoughts, soaking in the tranquility of the surroundings.
Remember that time Tom snagged his lucky lure on that old snag? We almost had to leave him there. Said he wouldn't budge until he got it back. The others burst into laughter, the sound echoing across the still water.
The stories flowed as freely as the beer they shared, each tale a thread woven into the rich tapestry of their shared history. As the stars began to pepper the darkening sky, casting a silvery glow on the water, a comfortable silence settled over them. The first rays of dawn painted the eastern sky in hues of pink and orange as the friends emerged from the cabin, their breath misting in the cool morning air. A symphony of birdsong filled the air, a cheerful chorus welcoming the start of a new day. Breakfast was a lively affair, fueled by strong coffee, hearty appetites, and the easy banter that came naturally after years of shared experiences. The lake beckoned, its surface smooth as glass, reflecting the clear blue sky above. Soon they were back in the boat, the familiar hum of the motor a comforting sound as they navigated their way across the still water. Lines were cast, lures danced enticingly beneath the surface, and the hunt for the elusive muskie was on. The air crackled with anticipation, each man eager to test his skill against the king of the lake.
We ate our sandwiches in comfortable silence, our eyes drinking in the beauty of our surroundings. I pointed out a bald eagle soaring effortlessly overhead, its white head gleaming in the sunlight. S1. As lunchtime approached, I steered the boat towards a secluded cove shaded by towering pines. The air here was cool and fragrant, filled with the scent of pine needles and damp earth. You know, I never get tired of this place. It's like all the worries of the world just melt away out here. It's more than just the scenery, though. It's the feeling you get out here. The peace, the quiet, the connection to something bigger than yourself. After lunch, we resumed our fishing expedition, our spirits refreshed by the break and the beauty of our surroundings. The sun began its slow descent towards the horizon, casting long shadows across the water. Still, the elusive muskie eluded our grasp. Where are they hiding? Frank was right, of course. Perhaps that was the true lesson of the Great North Woods. The importance of slowing down, of appreciating the journey, and of never giving up hope. S1. Patience, my friend. Sometimes you have to work for it. It's not always about the catch, you know. It's about the journey, the challenge, the perseverance.
As the last rays of sunlight faded from the sky, painting the water in hues of purple and orange, the friends returned to their cabin, their hearts full of the day's adventures. A fire crackled merrily in the stone fireplace, casting a warm glow over the cozy interior.
Dinner, a simple but satisfying meal of grilled fish and roasted vegetables, was eaten amidst lively conversation and laughter. As the fire burned low, casting flickering shadows on the cabin walls, we settled into comfortable chairs, mugs of steaming coffee warming our hands. The conversation turned to more reflective topics: family, careers, the passage of time.
They spoke of their hopes and dreams, their fears and regrets, their voices hushed with a mix of vulnerability and trust.
You know, watching my grandchildren discover the world, it's something else. Time just flies, doesn't it? It feels like just yesterday when everything seemed to stretch out forever. Well, I say age is just a number. I'm planning to retire soon, travel the world with my wife, and finally get around to those passions I've been shelving for too long. S1, absolutely, Dan. Watching my own children grow and start their own families. It's bittersweet, there's pride of course, but also a bit of melancholy knowing my role is changing. And here I am, not planning to slow down at all. I love my work, the satisfaction of creating something lasting. It keeps me going, you know? Absolutely, Tom. It's all about finding what keeps you alive inside. Anyone up for a song?
As Frank strummed his old guitar, the cabin filled with warmth and nostalgia. The group's voices blended into a harmonious chorus, echoing their deep connection. Surrounded by the firelight and each other's presence, they were transported back to simpler times. Tom's excitement was palpable as he battled the mighty fish, his voice a blend of disbelief and thrill. The group rallied around, their spirits lifted by the sudden turn of events, a perfect climax to their adventure. S4. Got him! This is it, the big one! Narrator. The next morning, the lake mirrored the clear sky, the air crisp with anticipation. The group followed their routine, but with a heightened sense of something special unfolding. Just as they contemplated a change of location, Tom's rod bent dramatically.
You know what? Let's just let him go. S2.
For a long moment, they simply stared in awe at the creature that lay before them. It was more than just a fish. It was a symbol of the lake's wild spirit, a testament to the enduring power of nature. Dan carefully maneuvered the net beneath the exhausted giant, gently lifting it from the water so they could admire it up close. "Look at the size of that thing," Mike breathed, his voice filled with awe. "It's like something out of a legend." They took turns marveling at its size and beauty, running their hands along its sleek flanks, feeling the raw power that still thrummed beneath its scales. "We should get a picture," Frank said, his voice filled with a fatherly pride. "This is one for the books." But as Tom reached for his phone, a strange sense of calm washed over him. He looked at the magnificent creature, its eyes reflecting the boundless sky above, and he knew he couldn't keep it captive, not for a trophy, not for a story. The others stared at him in surprise, but as they met his gaze, they understood. This wasn't about conquest, about proving anything. It was about respect, about honoring the wild spirit of the lake. And so, with a mixture of reverence and exhilaration, they watched as Dan gently lowered the net, allowing the muskie to slip back into the depths, disappearing beneath the water as if it had never been. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the water as they made their way back to the cabin. The air was still and quiet, the only sound the gentle lapping of water against the hull of the boat. None of them spoke, but the silence wasn't awkward or heavy. It was a comfortable silence, born of shared experience and a deep understanding of the unspoken emotions that rippled between them. Tom, still buzzing from his encounter with the muskie, reached out and trailed his fingers in the water. It was cool and invigorating, a stark contrast to the warmth that spread through him with the memory of the fish's power. He had never felt such a mix of exhilaration and peace before. A deep respect for the creature he had fought so hard to reel in, and an even greater satisfaction in letting it go. Frank, his weathered face creased with a thoughtful frown, watched the shoreline draw closer. He knew this trip, like all the others before it, was coming to an end. Soon they would be back in the familiar routines of their lives, jobs, families, responsibilities. But something felt different this time. Perhaps it was the encounter with the muskie, a reminder of the raw, untamed beauty that still existed in the world. Or maybe it was simply the passage of time, the realization that these trips, these moments with his friends, were more precious than ever. Dan, ever the observer, noticed the contemplative mood that had settled over his friends. He understood. They had shared something special on this trip, a connection that ran deeper than the fish they caught or the stories they told. It was a connection forged in the crucible of shared experience, tempered by time and strengthened by their unwavering loyalty to one another. The next morning, they packed up the truck, the familiar routine bittersweet this time. The scent of wood smoke clung to their clothes, a comforting reminder of the evenings spent huddled around the crackling fire, sharing stories and laughter. As they drove away from the cabin, the trees seemed to close in behind them, as if reluctant to let them go. The drive home was filled with a comfortable silence, punctuated by the occasional shared memory or observation. They had been coming to this place for so long that it had become more than just a destination. It had become a part of them, woven into the fabric of their lives. They knew that they would carry a piece of it with them always. The peace of the lake, the camaraderie of their shared meals, the echo of laughter in the quiet woods. As they pulled into town, the familiar sights and sounds of civilization washed over them. Traffic lights, ringing phones, the constant hum of activity. It was a stark contrast to the tranquil world they had left behind, but somehow it didn't seem as overwhelming as they remembered. They had returned, as always, refreshed and renewed, their spirits recharged by the time spent in nature's embrace. They parted ways with promises to stay in touch, to get together soon. They knew that life had a way of getting in the way, but they were determined to make time for each other, to keep the flame of their friendship burning bright. As they drove off, each man carrying a piece of the Great North Woods in his heart, they knew that they would be back, drawn back year after year by the irresistible call of the wild and the unbreakable bonds of friendship.